Welcome to the Press Box, sponsored by Zeglin's TV and Appliance. I'm Marc Nesseler. This is Daniel Makarewicz, and it's week 6. And oddly enough, we have out of the 6 Western Big Six teams, only 2 of them are playing a conference game, Rock Island and Alleman. So I guess we start right there.
Well, the winner still is in the conference race because I will stick with this that Quincy will lose one of the
Quincy's 3-0.
They'll either lose at home to Moline or when they go to Galesburg. They will lose one of those two.
They could conceivably lose them both,
perhaps,
which would then open the door for the winner of this game
to be the outright champion.
And Galesburg.
Well, and I look at it this way: Quincy has not impressed me at all yet. I've seen them three times in all their Big Six games. And Quincy, it was Alleman struggled moving the ball, and they needed a safety to be able to beat Alleman last week. But so the winner of this Rocky Alleman game stays in the conference race, stays in the playoff chase. The loser, is probably looking on the outside looking in when it comes to playoffs, especially Rock Island.
Fourth loss, 3-1.
And Rock Island still has to play Peoria Notre Dame on the road week 9. So if you're Rock Island, it's a big win for you to be.
And Alleman closes their last 3 weeks with, I know they finished with UT.
Manual,
which
Richwoods.
is a winnable game. Richwoods a winnable game. All three of them, yes. Yeah. And Rock Island has 2 home games that follow this.
Yes.
2 conference home games.
Correct.
So really high stakes.
Yeah, I mean,
for this one,
if you want
for the winner
and extended playoff runs that Alleman and Rock Island have, if you want to keep those streaks alive, obviously you need to take care of business on Friday night.
And it really hurts the loser. I mean, it's both.
You're out of the conference race,
spectrum, right?
And really, if you're Rock Island, you might be out of the playoff race.
Okay, so the other 4 teams all play Peoria schools. Mm-hmm. Moline has its homecoming game. Mm-hmm. And how crazy is that to schedule Peoria Notre Dame, which is the best of the Peoria schools?
By far.
And you said they schedule those
years in advance.
So you pick a non-conference game, and how unfortunate that is.
And it's just how the schedule works out because Moline had more home games in September. You would rather have it in October. That's just that's how the quote is: the cookie crumbles.
And of course, down the road, Moline goes to Quincy
next week,
and really becomes. I think every team in the Big Six becomes a big Moline Maroon fan.
Well,
Rocky, Alleman, Galesburg, they all want Moline to win that game.
I think if Moline, if they don't beat themselves in the league, they're going to be a tough out.
They've been the most impressive team that I've seen. I saw them play Richwoods in a close game, but they impressed me more than any team I've seen, and yet they're still 1-4.
I still say, their best football's ahead of them.
Right.
Moline's is.
So UT travels to
Richwoods,
and they've got a tough road through week 9, right?
Yeah. Well, UT.
They still have all 3 tough Peoria schools.
Correct, and that could be an issue. But at the end of the day, I still think UT at some point is going to be able to put 4 quarters together and be able to challenge somebody.
And Richwoods would be a game that they could do that.
Correct, and Andrew Tynes should be back at quarterback.
If they have the tape of the Moline game, they can, kind of a blueprint as to how to play Richwoods. Now, as we close out the rest of the regular season, it gets bigger and bigger for the area schools.
Correct.
And we include Genesee in that. Genesee has a non-conference game this week, but it's a big non-conference game.
Yorkville, 5-0 coming in. Yorkville has had to squeak out a couple wins. Last week, I think it was a 1-point win over Morris, who's now 2-3. I don't believe Yorkville has beaten anybody who has a winning record as of now.
Right.
I need to double check that one. But Genesee's defense has been very impressive this season. Their offense has been very impressive. Even though they only scored 17 points, that was a road game against a team that should be in the playoffs. Genesee, I like how they're going right now and the way that they're able to run the ball. They're throwing the ball effectively when they need to, and their defense is playing lights out.
Let me ask you this. If you're Genesee, would you rather play they have Sterling next week in the big conference game.
Correct.
Would you rather play them before Yorkville or play Yorkville before
I think you'd rather play Yorkville just to kind of get a playoff test, a postseason test like that.
And see where you're headed.
Yes, correct. And I think that these last 2 weeks have been good for Genesee.
2 big weeks, though, for Genesee.
Yeah, when you go to Rochelle and you win like that, and then this week you get Yorkville at home, I think that's a good back-to-back test. Right. Because the non-conference, they were able to roll through everybody.
Okay, now in other area schools, big games this week. Mercer County plays Anawan-Weathersfield
at home.
And I really thought that would be bigger. I thought Anawan-Weathersfield would not stumble last week, which would put emphasis on this week.
I mean, the winner is still in the conference race because Stark County still has to play United, and United's been playing really well in the last
surprise,
couple. Correct.
Surprise of the Lincoln Trophy.
Correct.
So.
Correct. And Mercer County trying to avoid a second consecutive loss, and Anawan Wethersfield trying to snap a 2-game losing streak.
The other one is Rock Ridge.
And St. Bede.
Rock Ridge plays St. Bede, hosting St. Bede.
Yeah.
And that one, you got to stay close to the top with Sterling Newman, and it's a must-win for either team.
Well, I mean, we'll see if Nolan Stevens can put up those video game numbers again.
Yeah, there you go. Sounds like you're marketing.
Correct.
Or maybe you have Nolan Stevens in your fantasy prep football team.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
All right, so we'll head to the last third of the season next week. Until then, thank you, Zeglin's TV and Appliance, for sponsoring, and we'll see you in the press box.